Security Services educational channel on condominium security. At 3D Security Services, our goal is to bring security best business practices into the condominium industry. Today's video will be talking about the Condominium Concierge or Security Guard. This video will be broken down into three parts. In the first part, we're going to be talking about the history and development of the Condominium Concierge. In the second part, we'll be looking at the advantages and disadvantages of either outsourcing this service or employing a condominium concierge in-house. The final part of the video, we'll be discussing points of consideration for condominium managers and board of directors to think about when looking to hire a security service. In this first section, we're going to look at the history or development of the concierge or security guard in the condominium industry. For the purpose of this video, the terms security guard or concierge will be used interchangeably. The reason for this is when the province changed the Security Act in 2005, it was determined that concierges must possess a security license. This meant that they had to participate in a training course of 40 hours and pass a provincial exam with a mark of 62% or higher. What we are seeing is that the security counter or security desk is quickly replacing this live-in superintendent's unit. This makes sense for both the condominium developer and the residents of the condominium. For the developer, they get an extra unit to sell. For the residents of the condominium, they have the added value of having security on site. If we were to look at this using a flood as an example, if a flood occurred with the live-in superintendent, they will usually turn off the water at the source and call in a plumber. A security guard can do the same thing with the added value of protecting the facility when no flood is taking place. One of the more frequent questions that we're asked is, should a condominium hire their own security guard or should they outsource to a security provider? We're going to be looking at this, the advantages and disadvantages, in the next section. In this section, we're going to be looking at the advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing security services at the condominium. Before we do that, we must first look at the provincial requirements. If a condominium decides to outsource their security services, then there is no real provincial requirement, as it will be taken care of by the security company. If a condominium decides to hire employees as either a concierge or a security guard, then there are three requirements under Article 5 of the Private Security and Investigative Services Act. The first one is that the condominium must advise the province that they have an employee or employees acting in this function. The second is that they must provide a mailing address for service. And the third one is that they must advise of any changes to this mailing address. While these requirements may seem simple, a lot of the condominiums that we visit and audit are not in compliance with this regulation. If we first look at the disadvantages of outsourcing security services, number one would be the cost. A security company must incorporate HST, overhead, and profit into the rates that they charge. Number two would be less stability in the workforce. One of the more common complaints that we hear from condominium managers and board of directors is the revolving door of staff that are assigned to the property. And this leads to the third point, which is familiarity with the condominium. Because of this revolving door, the condominium guards have less familiarity with the people, the rules, and the procedures at the condominium. The advantages of outsourcing security services, number one would be a reduction in the exposure to labor laws. If a labor dispute arises with a concierge or a security guard, it is up to the security company to manage this dispute. The second one would be a reduction in management workload through either payroll, scheduling, or other similar activities. The third one would be coverage. A professional security company will have the resources in place to assign qualified staff in the event of a sick day, short-term leave, vacation, and other time that's required off. And the last one would be legislation changes. A professional security company will be aware of any changes to the Security Act and will incorporate them accordingly. At 3D Security Services, we are very much in favor of reducing or eliminating the risk to the condominium wherever possible. For this reason, we are usually in favor of outsourcing security or concierge services to a professional and reputable company. In the next section, we're going to be looking at important factors to consider when a condominium manager or board of directors decide to outsource this service, and ways to ensure that they are receiving true value for their security budget. In this section, we're going to look at 4 important factors for condominium property managers and board of directors to consider when managing a security contract for a condominium. To do this, we're going to look at 3 different reports as well as training for the security guard. The first report that we're going to look at is the post orders. The definition of post orders is a written document that outlines the expectations, duties, and responsibilities of each and every security guard while on site. Post orders are critical to the security operations of the condominium, yet very often we find these reports either missing or incomplete. We'd like to highlight 4 more factors for post orders. Number 1, post orders should be reviewed and initialed by all security guards. If the post orders are changed or updated, the changes and updates should be reviewed and initialed by all guards working on site. Number 2, post orders are not one size fits all. Each post order should be a unique document that is prepared for that specific condominium. Number 3, post orders should contain all emergency contact information as well as policies and procedures to follow in the event of an emergency, such as a fire or a flood. Number 4, the post order should contain the location of all emergency and mechanical equipment. It should also include contact information for any emergency trades that might be required. The second report to look at is a daily shift report. This is a report that's filled out each time a condominium security guard works. These shift reports should be spot checked by management to ensure that everything outlined in the post orders are being followed. The third report is the incident report. Like the name may suggest, the incident report is used to track any unusual or unique situation that occurs at the condominium. It's very important that all relevant information is captured at the time of the incident. For this reason, the incident report that we include with our security audits have been reviewed by lawyers, law enforcement, and insurance adjusters to ensure that any information that might be needed at a future date is captured within that report. The final section would be on the training for the security guards sent to the property. We are seeing more and more security guards that are undertaking use of force training. Use of force training or certification should not be misconstrued to be a strictly physical endeavor. If my editing skills allow me, I will put a picture of the use of force continuum to my left. What use of force training does for condominium security guards is gives them the confidence to react appropriately in a potentially escalating situation. By having this use of force certification, security companies, condominium corporations, and property management companies can show that they have taken proper steps to adequately train their security guards. For this reason, we are strong advocates of the use of force certification and believe that it best protects all parties involved. Thank you for your kind attention to this video. When we do our security audits, one of the more common complaints is the level of service provided by security companies. Hopefully this video will allow condominiums to better manage their security contracts, as well as provide information to security companies on how to better service their condominium clienteles. As always, if you have any questions or concerns about this video, please do not hesitate to reach out to us through any of the contact information on the screen.